Hello everybody and welcome to Neverwinter. We are going to today look at our Bard DPS, single target and AoE. And we're going to start off with our AoE first. So let's have a little look at our power setups. So, our Bard, in the power setups, we'll go down to feats. Now these will change a little bit depending on if you're running AoE or single target. In fact, it won't. Let me just check. They won't change actually now I think of it. No, they don't. Sorry. So, the feat's going to stay the same, which means you can just use your Y button to select different power slots depending on if you're running AoE or you're running single target. To start off, we got the throw voice, or voice throw, sorry. Whenever you play a song that is not in your quick play slot, and a tank is in range, your attacks generate 50% of the threat that they generate to the tank. So you're gaining your aggro benefit. So when you gain from your attacks aggro, that's going to be added on, 50% is going to be added on to the tank, just helping them hold aggro a little bit. It's going to be, you can use the healing one, but ideally you're trying to be a DPS here, not trying to heal people with Rejuvenating Carol. And so you're going to be going for throw voice, or voice throw, sorry, which is just going to help the tank out. You have Elemental Melody, so your Confuocato, I can't even read half those. Anyway, your elemental songs on attacks deal 10 extra magnitude. Adieu, you and the nearest party member within 25 feet are granted the effect of Adieu, increasing total outgoing damage by 10%, decreasing total damage taken by 10%. So you're supporting yourself and another ally with a bit of damage and a bit of survivability. You have this one here, Redoublement, allows for the execution of encounters between strikes of ad lib volo subito. I think that's it. In between strikes of either of these powers, your encounter powers deal an additional 10% more damage. And Performer, your at-will encounter powers, you have a chance to randomly activate improvised versions of encounter powers. This improvised, basically that just gives you your encounter powers back more often. And now down in your general tab, you want to remember that you have critical tuning and you have truly inspired. So when you play your songs when they're not in a quick slot, like our Ballad of the Witches here, they will give you this bonus of your 10% crit severity for 20 seconds and your 10% damage bonus. Healing bonus is pretty obsolete for the Bard DPS. In class features, we've got Mystifying Strikes, randomly adding a 100 magnitude over time for 5 procs, and giving a bit of benefits to another party member as well. So increasing your damage and increasing the damage of other party members. Masterful Performer, increasing the effectiveness of Blaze Flamenco, Steel March, Tailwind Mambo, added effective by 50% when not in a quick play slot. So once again, when you're using your Tailwind Mambo, it adds another 50% on. You don't want to miss out on that. That's a massive, massive buff, and you want to get used to playing your songs when not in quick play. It'll only apply that bonus once, so obviously one song from your tray, you just play it, and the other one from your quick play. Up in songs, I only use Tailwind Mambo and Ballad of the Witch on AoE. And I do have Rejuvenating Carol just if the healer needs a bit of extra heal support, but overall I don't really use it. Situationally, Steel March can be good when you're in an AoE fight and you're standing in melee, but I prefer just that long range of Tailwind Mambo. I think that's just a little bit better. Now your daily powers on Bard kinda suck, to be honest. I don't really like them. So here you have got in your daily powers, you've got Lore, that grants you basically increased damage. You have Encore, which just gives you the last song you play without, you know, utilizing a depleting your performance gauge. So basically you can play another song, which, you know, can be situationally useful, but it really doesn't take long to cast a song, and so it's pretty pointless. An inspiration is another heal support one. Grants you the effect of basically wherever within 15 immunity to control effects, reduces the damage taken by 15%, increases the damage dealt by 25, and heal over time. So this is good for party content. You can drop that. It helps everybody. Good for artifact calls. But if you want to be selfish, this one gives you a little bit more damage to just you. So lore if you want to do just single target damage for yourself, and inspiration if you want to help everybody a little bit. I'd honestly say lore is better if you want to push that DPS board a bit, but you know, this is a brilliant thing and it helps everybody so much. Survivability for the artifact call, extra damage increase, and a heal over time. It's just helping everybody out. It's brilliant encounter power, and I personally just use it over lore. Not worrying about the 5% damage difference or something. For single target, we have on our single target for AoE, we have our X, we have our Y, which is the lunge, and we have our duet, which is the B. So the X, that basically makes you dive through enemies, creating damage in a line. Lunge, it just gets you to the enemies, and then duet has a little bit of range, but it does a 250 magnitude times 2 for the enemies that it hits. Over here we have Call Elemento. That allows you to play this song as an at-will, increasing it also because you're doing it from your you're not doing it from your quick play by 50%, and that's just increasing that to a big hit, bigger than anything else here for AoE. And then I have Fletch for my single target, because I think it puts out a little bit more than Con Elemento for single target. But what this is going to look like in AoE, let me just get the AoE dummies up. Where are they? They're over here. It's going to look a little bit like this. So as you go towards your fight, you want to have your precast your Tailwind Mambo. So A, Y, down, right, A, Y, down. And you can do that relatively fast when you get the hang of it. Okay, so this is not my normal setup. I usually run a Bard Healer, but I'll give it a try doing it fast. A, Y, down, down. And you can do it relatively fast. You can get faster than that if you're used to playing it, but I'm not so used to playing it because I don't really run Bard DPS all that often. So once you've got that up, you're then going to use your Battle of the Witch. Now I've got this on quick play, so that's my right trigger, and Battle of the Witch is active. Now I'll run towards the enemies, and I'll use my X to dive through the enemies. Lunge, dive through the enemies again, dive through the enemies again, and then I'll use my duet, and then I'll use my at-will, and I'll use my duet, and then I'll use my dive, and then I'll finish off with going and casting my Battle of the Witch again, and I can use my at-wills now. And as you see, they're quite a nice big at-will. My encounters are back, and I'm going to use my encounter powers, and you get tons of these encounter powers when you get a nice lucky build. And the Bard is very focused on how lucky you are in regards to your DPS. The luckier you are, the more damage you're going to do. It's as nice, as simple as that. And done. Nice and quick. Very simple to play. Just making sure that you have already precast that song and precast your Battle of the Witch as you go in. That being in quick play slot, it's really not hard to cast. It's literally just right bumper and then right trigger, and you've got it activated, giving you an increase to your magnitude of damage. All right, we are now going to go over to our single target build. I don't need to proc that yet. And so on single target, we have here, down at the bottom, feet stay the same. Here we still have Mystifying Strikes, and we have got Masterful Performer. Heading up, the same song, Tailwind Mambo, and this time instead of Battle of the Witch, which is for AoE, we have Battle of the Hero, which is for single target, increasing the damage by 85 magnitude per hit. We then have Lore and Inspiration again. And then we have our lunge for single target. We have our dancing lights, and we have our ad libitum. Our dancing lights will be first. They are a big, heavy hit. They increase damage taken, and they have a long cooldown. So you kind of want to get them cast first. Lunge towards your target, and then you can use your ad libitum. And these might re-proc, obviously, because of your feats and stuff. And then you have your Con Elemento, which is increased by 50% damage. And then you have your Fletch, which is a nice ranged power. It's up to you which one you use. I kind of just, for pure single target, I'll use Fletch. And for bosses which have any other ads, I'll use Con Elemento, because the damage is so close between the two. And this is what it's going to look like in a single target rotation. You're going to basically want to make sure that you have your Tewa Mambo up. Now this isn't necessarily to use as an at-will, because you might not want to use it as an at-will. You might want to use your other at-will, which does just single target damage, if that's what you prefer. Or you can use your Tewa Mambo. But remember, when you have this song activated not in the quick play slot, it gives you bonuses to damage and crit severity, increasing your crit severity and increasing your damage and so on. Now, you want to make sure you then go and play your Ballad of the Hero from quick play. And now you can just use your dancing lights, your lunge, and your ad libitum. Ad libitum came back, dancing lights came back, dancing lights came back again, lunge came back again, there's dancing lights again. You see what I'm saying? It just, if you get lucky, it really hits hard. And as you see, I've got really lucky so far with the amount of encounter powers that have just come off cooldown. Oh, I need to cast my Battle of the Witch again. And something that's really cool is, with the Bard, when your song gets close to its end, you can basically do what's called finale, where you do one more hit with your guitar, or your lute, by pressing your right bumper again. So I'm going to press my right bumper, boom, and that's like an 800, 900 magnitude hit. I then come back out, AY, there we go, and that gets this up, and then I will use my right bumper once my performance is back, right bumper, and then my trigger to do my Ballad of the Hero. So this is what the artifact call is going to look like. I'll show you just quickly here, and it's going to look like this. So I'm going to be prepped, Ballad of the Hero, and my Tewa Mambo, and I'm going to go artifact, dancing lights, lunge, and then, sorry, I messed that one up. I'm very sorry. What I should say is, before we get into this, I have 2 tacticians on and 1 cavalry's haste. One tactician on and 1 cavalry's haste. You don't overly need tacticians. You can luck out on the Bard and do tons of damage without it. But the more tacticians, the more cavalry's haste you have, the less luck is required to doing more damage. So if you have 2 tacticians and 1 cavalry's haste, you're going to basically maximize it all the time without luck, because you're getting that cooldown back nice and quickly. Anyway, let's try this again. So I'm going to show you the rotation with tacticians, and I'm going to show you it without tacticians as well. So first things first, you're always going to want to start off with getting your buffs up, like that, and wait for Ballad of the Hero, wait for my performance to go up, and now I can play my Ballad of the Hero, and now I'm ready to go. Now I'm always going to start off with my daily, then I'm going to go into my artifact, dancing light, lunge, and this is it without. I wait for them to come off cooldown. I didn't really luck out too hard on that one, but as you see, it does a bit of damage. And so there, I actually didn't utilize my tacticians on my cavalry's haste. I forgot to say that. But what I did is I started off with buffing myself with the daily power. Here, inspiration. So I buffed myself by that 25%. And then I went into my 3 encounter powers, my belt item, And then once, if none of them came off of cooldown faster, which unfortunately they didn't, they all went off onto cooldown, which kind of sucked. What I did then is I did my I ended my Battle of the Hero with my right bumper to do that extra little single target attack for like 800 magnitude. Excellent. Now this is what it's going to look like with Tactician's Precision. You're going to be dropping that daily power midway through. So you're not gaining that full 25% for the full rotation, but you are gaining more encounter power. So it kind of balances out a bit. You're going to actually start off with Dancing Lights before. Artifact, 1, 2, and oh, I got it back again. Going to use my lore, back again, daily. And if you see here, it just puts out that little bit more damage. It's a bit of a messy one. I didn't even have all my stuff buffed on. Anyway, it's a bit of a messy one because you've got things that pop on cooldown so quickly sometimes. Like, just here, I just keep getting it. I just keep getting it. And so I'll show you the artifact call one more time with the this time with the buffs on, because I actually forgot to apply the buffs last time. There we go. And wait for that to come off cooldown. About 10 seconds. I actually used the wrong one, but we'll go from here in just a second. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to start off with my Dancing Lights. I'm going to use my artifact, my encounter powers, and then I'm going to use my daily, my encounter powers, and I can use my mount, encounter powers, and that's about the 10-second mark there. And that just gives you a nice big heavy pack of damage. And then you can use my finale if I want to. So that's Bard DPS. It's very simple to play. A lot of button spamming on AoE and single target because you've got such quick cooldown sometimes. And there's a lot of luck to it. But when you get lucky in DPS, you get really lucky and you apply just tons of encounter powers, as you've seen. Sometimes you get tons of damage and sometimes they don't come off cooldown fast enough and you've got to rely on your tacticians and your cavalry's haste to maximize your damage if you can. Anyway, thank you for watching. That is Bard DPS and I will catch you next time.